They are remembered as the generation that lived through the most shocking event of the 20th century. Even for those who served to defend their country, it is difficult to comprehend the hardships and horrors that the Jewish people have endured during World War II. Yet equally incredible, within this time of darkness, there are stories that illuminate another chapter of Jewish history. Stories that began with the persecution of the Jews and the imprisonment of thousands in the ghettos. In the face of their almost certain fate, rose the heroes of modern Jewish history.
They wanted that we shall be slaves, we shall do what they want without any questions. You felt that you are one fighting against all the world. And we never thought that we shall stay alive. This was not the thing, not my thinking. My thinking was, first thing, let's fight, let's do something.
The efforts of those who fought Nazi oppression with arms, knowledge, and faith kept the Jewish spirit alive. A spirit that continues to this day in the land of Israel. This spirit is a reminder of what it means to fight for Jewish survival. In 1949, when the State of Israel was still in its infancy, the members of the Jewish resistance, partisans, and Holocaust survivors who participated in the ghetto and concentration camp uprisings settled just outside Haifa and founded Kibbutz Lochamei HaGetaot. In doing so, they created a community that thrives as a living, breathing legacy to the ghetto fighters and the freedom for which they fought. As part of the community, the founding members of the kibbutz built an archive and commemorative center to document Jewish life before the war and the Jewish experience during the war. It is unique as the only existing Holocaust museum to be founded and cared for by fighters and survivors. For over half a century, that museum has grown to Beit Yitzchak Katzenelson, named for the famous poet and author who became the spiritual mentor of the Warsaw Ghetto uprising and who perished in Auschwitz. It is known as the Ghetto Fighters' House, a living educational institution. Artifacts, documents, and diaries were rescued from Europe by the founders of the kibbutz and put on display, the first exhibit in the world to deal with the Holocaust. The Ghetto Fighters' House has succeeded in continuing the spiritual legacy of Yitzchak Katzenelson and the other leaders of the Jewish resistance. They were educators who understood the value of keeping Jewish spirituality alive in the face of annihilation. The main museum demonstrates how Jewish heritage persevered by focusing more on what Jews did to survive rather than just detailing the atrocities committed by the Nazis. Spiritual resistance during the Shoah is displayed through thousands of photographic and film images. There are exhibits on Jewish religious practices, cultural life in the ghettos, and over 3,000 works of Holocaust art, making it one of the world's largest collections. Of all the tragedies experienced during the Holocaust, perhaps the most devastating is the murder of 1.5 million innocent Jewish children. Nearly an entire generation wiped out. The Ghetto Fighters' House has always focused on the children and their importance in the Jewish community. For them, Yad Layeled, the children's museum at the Ghetto Fighters' House, was founded in 1995. The touching testimonies and hopeful dreams of interred children, such as the drawings of the children of Theresienstadt, memorialize a lost generation that perished in the ghetto and camps. Layeled brings Holocaust education to today's children on their own terms.
When we invite the kids to get into the museum, we go with them step by step. We call Yad Layeled. They said we give each other hands, because the meaning of Yad is hand. We give each other a hand and we go into a very terrifying subject together. And we want to give hand to them, to help them to learn about the Holocaust in a special way that is relevant to them and is very important to go with them into such a dark place.
Through these unique interactive exhibits, surrounded by the recorded voices of contemporary children reading from authentic diaries, young visitors to Yad Layeled create an emotional bond with the children who lived during the Holocaust. They learn of their hopes, their dreams, and their experiences. Today, the Ghetto Fighters House and Yad Layeled are continuing their efforts through many international educational programs. Such programs successfully teach pluralism and democracy for all nations and peoples around the world. Specifically, the Center for Humanistic Education teaches Arab and Jewish educators the philosophy of Janusz Korczak and the central theme of tolerance, the right to be respected, and the obligation to respect others.
At the Center for Humanistic Education at the Ghetto Fighters Museum, we are working with high school students, Israeli high school students, Jews and Arabs, who are coming after school hours to learn about the Holocaust from this humanistic point of view, which explains for them our very, very complicated reality in the conflicted Israeli society in the Middle East.
When I was in second class, the first Intifada just began. I learned in a private school in the old city in Jerusalem. I lived in fear all the time. I felt the suffering of my nation, of the neighbors. I raised hatred in my heart. I came back with my parents in the 4th grade to Kfar Yassif. I came back, but I didn't forget hate in my heart. Till 10th grade, for me, the Jewish people were others, were enemy, the people that I hate. And till the moment that I came here. And when I went through the museum, the Yad Layeled Museum, and I heard the voices of the children telling their story, their pain, I couldn't prevent it. It just catched me.
So we are working here with 23 high schools who are sending every year another group of students. We are working here with teachers, Jews and Arabs, who are coming for long-year training sessions. And the same we are doing also with police officers who are working in this troubled society of the Israeli reality.
I am proud to say that nevertheless we found the methods and instruments to deal with our special hard situation and to overcome the difficulties and to educate Jewish and Arab young generation which is committed to reconciliation, to moderation, and to coexistence.
I came back here to the center not as encounters but as a facilitator, because I believe in this road and I believe how this center could touch my life, could touch my soul and give me so important humanistic values. Then maybe I can be a part of this center while giving these values, humanistic values, to others, and Arabs and Jewish too.
The International Book Sharing Project is another unique program. It pairs American and Israeli schools in the reading and discussion of Holocaust literature.
The most special part to me in this whole entire project was communicating with the Israeli kids. It had a great impact on us, and I think it would be appropriate for other schools because it can give them such a great understanding of what the Jewish children went through in the Holocaust and what they experienced.
As these programs gain momentum and the generations pass on, it becomes more important to maintain the educational traditions set by the founders of the Ghetto Fighters' House. New educational tools have proved to be a huge asset, but a pressing issue faces the continuation of Jewish education.
How many people are left who saw it? Hundreds, not even thousands. They will be gone in 5-6 years. And then will come people who wants to say that the Holocaust never exists and this never, and resistance will never exist. If we don't put it in writing, put it in the museums, have it now, it will never stay for generations.
This is the reason why each year over 20,000 people, young and old alike, make a pilgrimage to the Ghetto Fighters Museum to participate in Israel's national closing ceremony for Yom HaShoah, Holocaust Remembrance Day. The largest gathering of its kind in the world, it brings together the generations in a moving commemorative ceremony that emphasizes the importance of life and the respect for education as the link to a common Jewish heritage. The American Friends of the Ghetto Fighters Museum is supporting the educational projects developed by Beit Yitzchak Katzenelson and Yad Layeled. The programs join American and Israeli students in a unique opportunity in the study and commemoration of the Holocaust.
Last year, the Israeli students had been to Yad Layeled and they prepared themselves and were the guides for the American students. Took them through the museum together and they became better friends.
The Ghetto Fighters Museum extends its educational endeavors for spiritual renewal on behalf of world Jewry and to all cultures around the globe.
I hope when they will go out and they will take some questions that they couldn't solve here in Yad Layeled, and they go home and they open more books and they start to ask questions their grandparents they didn't ask before. They will become curious about this subject. I think this will open a new dialogue between the third generation and the first generation.
The Ghetto Fighters Museum remains unique by celebrating the heroes of the Holocaust and the extraordinary will of the Jewish resistance during that time. Visitors cannot help but leave with a stronger sense of Jewish pride. The heroes of yesterday have become the inspiration to an entire nation today. The Ghetto Fighters Museum and Yad Layeled, keeping the Jewish spirit alive from one generation to the next.